Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jan Vallabha Girvaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram. Jai Nitai Gauranga, Jaya Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga, Jaya Nitai Gauranga. Jai Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Yatharup, as it is, from chapter 4, entitled as the Transcendental Knowledge, and text number 11. Ye yatha mam prapadyante tam satheva bhajamyaham mam varthamanu vartante manushya bharata sarvashaha. Ye yatha mam prapadyante tam satheva bhajamyaham mam varthamanu vartante manushya bharata sarvashaha. Ye yata mam prapadyante tam satheva bhajamyaham mam varthamanu vartante manushya bharata sarvashaha. Tam satheva bhajamyaham mam varthamanu vartante manushya bharata sarvashaha. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Translation. As all surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, O son of Pratha. Please repeat the translation. As all surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, O son of Pratha. So we'll begin our discussion. So we'll begin with the prayers. Om Ajnanaatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishnamreshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Pashyate Deshadarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So welcome all the devotees for our discussion on Bhagavad Gita. So we are reading 4.11, one of the very important verse. So this verse had the two different parts. So we'll take the discussion in two different parts. First two lines and second two line. So let's begin with the first two lines, which says, Ye athamam prapadyante tam tathaiva bhajamyaham. Meaning, Krishna is saying to Arjuna, as all surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. So the meaning of these two lines is, Krishna is saying, to the degree one surrender to Krishna, to that degree Krishna reciprocates with the devotees. If somebody surrenders 1%, you will see Lord's reciprocation 1% in life. Somebody who surrenders to the Lord 100%, you can see Lord can reciprocate 100% in your life. We'll understand this as we move forward. So Prabhupada starts the purport. So I'll be taking the points from the purports. We are not reading the whole purport, but some important points, and then we'll have some discussion on those points. So the first line of the purport Prabhupada says, everyone is searching for Krishna in the different aspects of his manifestations. So this is one very important point to understand. We can say that I want this in my life, I want that in my life, and different people can put it in different ways. But important thing to understand here is, all of us, we are searching for Krishna only. We may not understand this fully, But ultimately, we all want Krishna in our life. Ultimately. So Prabhupada is saying everyone is searching for Krishna in the different aspects of his manifestation. So Krishna in different aspects of his manifestation. Now Prabhupada is talking about there are three different kind of transcendentalists. Transcendental means those who are on the path of spiritual emancipation. So there are different levels. So they are called the Gyanis, Yogis and the Bhaktas. Gyanis means basically the impersonalist. So different people, those who are in the path of spiritual emancipation, their idea of perfection in spiritual life is different. So these Gyanis, they think the perfection of our spiritual life is we can become one with the Lord. So these people, the Gyanis, they are called as impersonalist. So their understanding is the supreme absolute truth, the supreme Lord is some kind of a light. They don't believe in that Lord is some kind of a person, Bhagavan is person, he has the personality and different aspects. That is not their understanding. Their understanding is the ultimate, the supreme power is some kind of light, some energy, something like that. They think if we can reach to that light, that energy, we merge into that, we become one with that, that is the perfection of our life. So they are called impersonalist. So they want to merge in the Brahma Jyoti. Now second class of transcendentalists, they are known as the yogis. So now these yogis, their perfection of life is they meditate, and the perfection of their meditation is they want to see the form of the Lord in their heart. So even Krishna also explains in the Bhagavad Gita that he says that I am sitting in everyone's heart as Paramatma. So Lord is accompanying all of us in the Paramatma feature. So these yogis, they think through this meditation, if we can see the Lord in the heart, if we can have the darshan of the Lord in the heart, that is our perfection of our life. That is their understanding. And then third category of transcendentalists are the bhaktas, the devotees. And the devotees' understanding of attaining the perfection is the Bhagavan. Bhagavan means the supreme personality of Godhead. Their understanding is the Supreme Lord is a person. He is not a person like you and me, but he is the transcendental personality. He is the Param Purusha. He is Adi Purusha. That is their understanding. So Bhagavan means he has all the features. So the devotees aspire to have the darshan of Bhagavan or realization of Bhagavan aspects of the absolute truth. They want to see the Lord in the Shyam Sundar form. And the description is given in the scriptures. Venam Konantam Arvinda Dalayadaksham Barhavatam Samasithambud Sundarangam Kandarpa Koti Kamaniya Visesha Shobham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Like that, there is a description of who is Bhagavan. So it's not someone's mental speculation that, okay, oh, we all worship Krishna, we have imagined something, we have concocted some form of Krishna that, put some peacock feather in his hair, maybe it looks beautiful. Maybe bend it little bit, 1, 2, 3 places bent, it looks attractive. It's not somebody's concoction. This is a scriptural description. Krishna is holding flute. Venum Konantam Arvinda Dalayadaksham. He is Venum Konantam, holding the flute. His eyes are like Arvind Dalayataksha. Aksha means the eyes. His eyes are as beautiful as like the lotus petals. Arvind means the lotus. So there is a comparison. Comparative understanding is given that Lord's eyes are very, very beautiful like the lotus petal. Barhavatam Samasitambud. He is holding the peacock feather in his hair. His hair are decorated with the peacock feather. And then Asitambud Sundarangam. His ang means bodily limbs. They're very, very attractive, very beautiful, Sundar. And their color, the bodily hue of the Lord's bodily limbs is Asit Ambud. Ambud is the cloud. And Asit Ambud means the newly born cloud. Like in the rainy season, today of course there is rains outside. Sometimes you will see in the rainy season there is a dark cloud which looks blackish. It is not exactly black, but there is a little tinge of black and there is a blue sky and all that. So that is the color of Lord's bodily limbs. So these kind of descriptions are given in the scriptures, the Lord's form. And these transcendentalists called the devotees or bhaktas, they aspire to have the darshan of that beautiful form. So why we are discussing all this here? What is the connection? Connection is this. Krishna is saying, Ye yatha mam prapadyante tam satam bhajamyaham. As all surrender unto me, to what degree you surrender, accordingly I reciprocate. So the impersonalist, the jnanis, their surrender is, okay, we want to reach to the light, to the Brahma Jyoti. That's all. Beyond that, we don't believe in anything. So Krishna will reveal to them, the Supreme Lord will reveal to them in the form of that Brahma Jyoti. Then jnanis, their surrender is, oh, we want to see, their desire, that we want to see the Paramatma feature of the Lord. So Lord will also reciprocate, okay, I'll show you my Paramatma darshan. And then devotees, they aspire to see the beautiful transcendental Shyam Sundara form of the Lord, and Lord reciprocates with the devotees to give them darshan in the Shyam Sundar form. So this is Lord's reciprocation. So this verse is very, very important verse which explains that Lord will reciprocate to the degree we surrender to the Lord. So this is the principle. To what degree you surrender to the Lord, you can expect that much of reciprocation. Right? Sometimes we hear some stories in the scriptures that somebody had the darshan. And suddenly we say, oh no, I never had the darshan. How can I believe? Maybe these are all stories. You can also have the darshan of the Lord. Sakshat darshan. But first qualification is, first you surrender to that degree. Then Lord will come and give you the darshan. Right? So the point is that Lord will reciprocate to the degree, the intensity of your surrender. Now there is this beautiful passage in the Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto. So this section appears when Krishna went to Mathura along with Balaram. He was invited by Kamsa. He sent Akrurji to bring Krishna and Balaram, and they came to Mathura. And he arranged a wrestling for them. So when Krishna and Balaram, they were in the wrestling arena. So these descriptions comes. It's a beautiful thing and it's very much relevant in today's discussion. So it explains that there's a lot of people gathered there in the wrestling arena to see the fight, the wrestling. And there are different kind of people. Some people were favorable to Krishna Balaram, some people were not favorable to Krishna Balaram. So there, the same Krishna, but different people were seeing Krishna in different ways, in different forms. So this description is here like this. So he says, he appeared to the wrestlers exactly like a thunderbolt. So Krishna, to the wrestlers, he was looking like a thunderbolt. Very powerful man. And then, people in general, he appeared as the most beautiful personality. A lot of crowd, they're seeing, oh, such an attractive boy. To the females, he appeared to be the most attractive male. And then to cowherd man, who were present there, looked upon Krishna as their own kinsmen, because Krishna also belonged to cowherd man. So some gwalas were there, they say, oh, he is our man. What he is doing here? So see how the different people are looking at the same person in different, and Krishna is reciprocating differently to different people. And then Kshatriya kings who were present saw him as the strongest ruler. To the parents of Krishna, he appeared to be the most loving child. The parents, like Vasudeva and Devaki, they are seeing, oh, our loving son. He's going to fight with all these big wrestlers. And then to Kamsa, he appeared to be death personified. To unintelligent, he appeared to be an incapable personality. To the yogis, he appeared to the super soul. To the members of the Brishni dynasty, he appeared to be the most celebrated descendant. So you see here how Krishna is reciprocating with different people differently. Krishna can do that because he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is all powerful. He's omniscient, He's omnipresent. So He has the power to reciprocate with each of us in different ways. We also reciprocate with different people differently, but our reciprocation, the ability of reciprocating with others is very, very limited. More than a limit, we cannot even reciprocate. We fail to reciprocate. A lot of people are waiting in queue to meet someone. How many people he can meet and talk? There is a limitation. And then there is a waiting time. But Krishna at the same time, without waiting, simultaneously he can reciprocate with all of us. Right? Thousands and thousands of devotees come for darshan to the Lord, they pray, and Lord reciprocates, parallelly with everyone. So that is what Krishna is saying. Yathamam prapadyante tam stham bhajameham. To what degree you surrender, to that degree you receive the reciprocation. So in this connection, there's beautiful pastimes. So a lot of pastimes, I'll just quote few. So this is the pastime of this Madhavendra Puri, who is one of the great devotee of the Lord. So Madhavendra Puri, he was traveling. Now it's a very long story, but I'll just quote the portion of it, which is relevant in this discussion today. So when he was traveling towards from Vrindavan to Jagannath Puri, so he happened to visit this temple, the Gopalji temple, Gopinath temple. So he stayed there. In those days, there was no means of transportation, so he was just walking all the way from Vrindavan to Puri, and he was tired, exhausted. So he thought, I'll take rest in the temple in the evening. So he went in the evening, he rested there, and he attended the evening aarti and all of that. And then he saw that Pujari, brought some sweet rice in the mud pot, kullad. Right? So sweet rice pot was offered to the Lord. And it was very, looking very beautiful, offering is going on and all that. So while he was having the darshan of this, a thought crossed his mind, Madhavendra Puri. He thought, if I get to taste this sweet rice, little bit, then probably once I go back to Vrindavan, I'll also offer the same kind of sweet rice to my Gopalji. With that thought, this idea came that I should taste this. And immediately he realized that this sweet rice is not yet offered to the Lord. And before that only I am just thinking of tasting myself. How fallen I am, how offensive I am. So these are the, qualities of great devotees. They think of themselves like very fallen. On the contrary to people like us, we think ourselves as very great. Right? So he thought immediately, oh no, this is a great offense. Before Lord could taste, I just thought of tasting it. So he thought this is a big offense and I am not qualified to even stay here. And he immediately left the temple and walked in the street. Now the darshan was closed, and then Pujari left back home. And while Pujari was sleeping, taking rest in the night, suddenly he saw the same Gopinath in his dream, the Pujari of the temple. And the Gopinathji comes and says that you should go and find one of my devotee named Madhavendra Puri. And I have hidden some sweet rice pot behind my altar. So go, open the altar, take out that sweet rice pot and give it to that Madhavendra Puri. Now this Pujari is wondering, who is this Madhavendra Puri? He never knew that there's someone called Madhavendra Puri. But it was a revelation. He got up, took bath, went in the altar at the mid of the night, and he found exactly there was one sweet rice was kept behind. Right? And then he took and he was amazed to see that, oh, this is the reality. It was not just a dream. And he was ecstatic because he had the darshan of the Lord in his dream. And then he comes out and on the street he's walking and he's shouting and calling out, is there someone in the street who is named as Madhavendra Puri? So he was going and then Madhavendra Puri heard that. He says, what happens? And he says, he went there and he just fell at the feet of Madhavendra Puri. He says, you are such a great devotee. Because of you, I had the darshan of the Lord. And Lord personally instructed me to offer this sweet rice to you. All right. So we see that how Lord reciprocates with the devotees. Lord stole. And then same Gopinath is today also, if somebody happens to go to close to Puri, this temple is still there. it is famous as Cheer Chor Gopinath. Because the Gopinath ji became chor, he stole the sweet rice and he became famous as Kheer Chor Gopinath or Cheer Chor Gopinath. Right? So you see, ye atha mam prapadyante. Lord reciprocates with his devotee. He wanted to taste, and Lord stole the sweet rice and offered it to his devotee. There's similar pastime of Sanatana Goswami. So this Sanatana Goswami, when he was in Vrindavan, he found this deity of Madan Mohanji deity. Now again, today if you go to Vrindavan, you will see the one tallest temple on the top of the hillock. It's a very ancient temple. This is called the Madan Mohanji temple. So this Madan Mohan deity, so in those days there was no temple. So what he will do is, these are all Goswamis, they don't even have their own hut also to stay in one place. So they will be keep traveling in the forest. Today under one tree, tomorrow under another tree, like that. That is how their life was. And then at the same time he is having the deity of the Lord, so he will hold the deity at the back like this, with tying with one cloth. He'll carrying, and when he'll sit under a tree, he'll hang the deity like this on the tree. And he'll be engaged in doing his work. His work was to write the literature. That is what the instruction he received from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So they didn't have much time, so they will just travel, sit under a tree, write the literature, and Lord will be hanging there. Madan Mohanji deity. Can you imagine that you are worshipping the Lord like this? We do 6-time Aarti here and 6-time offering and all that. Dressing and everything is like a king. And he's treating the Lord like hanging. And he's so busy, he's not offering anything. So one day, Madan Mohanji, he says to Sanatana Goswami, he says, so what he will do is, because he was very busy with writing all this literature, so in between he'll find some time, quickly he'll go around in the city of Vrindavan and he'll beg, because they are all Babajis, Goswamis. He'll beg, and whatever he gets at the earliest, some little chapati, dry chapati. North India is more of chapati, not rice. And he'll quickly come and he'll offer the sukha chapati to Madan Mohanji every day. So that was the treatment given to Madan Mohanji. So one day the Lord says, hey, what is this? Every day you are giving me this sukha chapati. And I'm bored of eating this sukha chapati. Dry roti. You should offer at least something to eat along with us, some sabji or something. Or if you can't afford to offer me sabji, at least give me some little salt. I can manage with that also. So then Sanatana Goswami says, today you are asking salt. Tomorrow you will ask some sweet. And every day your demands will be keep increasing. I don't have the time for doing all this. I have a lot of work given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So now, for non-devotees, these kind of stories might sound like some imaginative stories, some fanaticism. But these are the real stories which happened like few 100 years back. So the point is, yes, those devotees, they're completely surrendered soul to the Lord. Lord reciprocates with them. Lord can reciprocate with anyone, with all of us, provided we are surrendered to the Lord. So like that, there's another story of the Sakshi Gopal, which was another very famous pastime. This one poor Brahmana and one very rich Brahmana who was an old man. So they were on the pilgrimage trip. And this poor Brahmana who was a young boy, so he served the old Brahmana a lot while they were on the trip. So he was very, very impressed by this young Brahmana boy. But he was a very poor boy. So he was very impressed, very happy with his service. So he said, once we go back, I promise that I'll give my daughter to you in marriage. He did not realize that what will be the opposition from the family. So when he comes back and he told this to the family member, there was a strong opposition from the family. That how we can give our daughter to such a poor man, and without consulting us, how you can promise like this? Forget it. It is not going to happen. So he said, but this is my promise. He says, don't worry, when this guy will come, we'll deal with him. You just tell that I don't remember. And you are an old man, so you say, I might have said something. I don't remember like that. So this is what exactly happened. And this poor Brahmana was little taken aback. He says, you are supposed to be a Brahmana and you should be truthful. You should not be telling lies. Now you are bluntly refusing that you don't remember and all that. So then argument was going on. So the son of this elderly Brahmana, he says, is there someone Sakshi, someone like witnessing this when he spoke? He says, yes, he told me this in the Vrindavan in front of the Gopalji temple, in the front of the Lord Krishna. So he says, then bring your Krishna only. He said like that. And he was very confident that it's not possible. So he says, bring your Krishna. If he comes and as a witness, then we'll agree to this proposal. Now this Brahmana, the poor Brahmana boy, was again, strong faith. He goes all the way back to Vrindavan in the same temple, and he says, Gopalji, you have to come back all the way. Now he's going and talking to DT. What do you expect? DT doesn't talk like this with anyone. Right? So he was very fervently praying, and he says, you have to come all the way with me to the Puri, close to the Puri, this place. So when he was praying, then there was a voice. This voice says that, have you ever seen the DT walk like this? So in response, this Brahmana says, I have never even seen the DT even talk like this you are talking. So you can talk, you can walk also. So please walk with me. So he started walking. The Lord walks behind him. Right? And there was a condition that Lord says that you should not look back. You just keep walking front and I'll be following you. You should not turn around and see me. He says, okay. Agreed. And he says, how would I know that you are walking behind me? So he says, I have this one, what do you call it? Anklets. So you will hear that sound and then you'll get to know that I am. So Lord walked all the way from Vrindavan to close to the Puri. So these are the reciprocation of the Lord with the devotees. Now we cannot falsely or immaturely expect these kind of reciprocations. At the same time, we should understand the principle. Principle is, ye yatha mam prapadyante tam satham bhajamyam. To the degree we surrender to the Lord, to that degree Lord reciprocates. So instead of focusing on how Lord should reciprocate, like Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur Maharaj, he says, don't try to see God, but work or act in such a way that God will see you. So we always try to see God, that Krishna should talk to us, he will appear in front of us, something like that. He said, don't try. If you are not qualified, you can't do that. But act in a way, work in a way that Lord will see you. So we should focus on that, how I can increase my surrender, my devotion to the Lord. And when I am qualified, then Lord will reciprocate to the degree I am surrender. So that's the understanding. Now, there's another expression in the same connection comes in the Srimad Bhagavatam 6th canto. This verse explains, says, a rope causes fear for a bewildered person who consider it a snake, but not for a person with proper intelligence who knows it to be only a rope. Similarly, you as the super soul in everyone's heart inspire fear or fearlessness according to one's intelligence, but in you there is no duality. So Lord's reciprocation, you see, this comparison is given here, this example is given, like a rope. So the person who is in darkness and there's a rope is hanging here, in the darkness what you will see? You might see it as a snake, right? But the person who is in the light, he will see as a rope. So the same object, but based on either you are in light or in your darkness, how you will see. So if you are in darkness, darkness is compared to the ignorance, agyanta. So when people are in ignorance, then the God is seen as fearfulness. They see the Lord as the object of fear. But for the devotees, those who understand the nature, the characteristic of the Lord, they see the Lord as the object of fearlessness. The Lord is the one who makes the devotee fearless. We see the example of this Prahlad Maharaj and Hiranyakashipu. Right? So for Prahlad Maharaj, Narsimhadev, because Narsimha's form was very fierce form. His very horrifying form. But Prahlad Maharaj is looking at the beautiful form and is smiling, and he was in ecstasy by looking at that form. Because he is a great devotee of the Lord. So he was a great solace to Prahlad. With the same form, when the Hiranyakashipu was looking at that form, he was horrified by looking at the form itself. It was such a fierce form. So ye yatha mam prapadyante, same form, but Lord is reciprocating differently. Right? So different reciprocation with different people. So as we are discussing the three categories, now if we talk about another three categories of people is Karmis, Gyanis, and Yogis. Karmis are those who go to the God, they ask, give me this, give me that, Rupam Dehi, Yasho Dehi, Dehi Dehi, with a long list. Right? That is how most of the people they go to the temple, go to the Lord. Lord will reciprocate. He can give you also. With the Gyanis, he give that impersonal realization. And the yogis, they look for some kind of mystic powers. So Lord give them the mystic powers. But the devotees, he give the loving reciprocations. So to what degree, how you want the Lord's reciprocation, to that degree, in that form, he will give you. So one thing is like very gross form of asking from the Lord, something you are asking grossly. Give me some good job, some money, something like that. Now, when we start reading Bhagavad Gita, we started practicing Krishna consciousness, we start understanding all these principles. So we understand at one level that there's no point of asking all these worldly things, material things. There's no point. We should ask something else. But then there's something even subtle also. We need to understand that. This is next level of trap. Once you understand, you should not be asking anything material. Then where is the trap? Trap is when we come to the temple, you are in the community of devotees, lot of devotees. Then this is called the subtle anarthas, puja pratishtha labh. Puja means, there should be some appreciation, there should be some recognition, there should be some glorification. I did some seva in the temple. People should come and say, oh, such a nice seva you have done. You're such an important person for the temple. I gave some donation. So they should recognize. There should be some, my name should be encrypted on somewhere, the prominent place in the temple. So like that, they're all subtle anarthas. So one should be very, very careful. Lord will give that also. The point is what you ask from the Lord. So we should understand what we should be asking from the Lord. Don't ask something which you find later you realize it was very cheap thing to ask. Right? Either it is gross material things or it is something subtle things like this puja, pratishtha, lava. These are all anarthas. We should not hanker after all such things. There's something much more to ask from the Lord. Right? So one should be very, very careful. So in this connection, in the 6th canto, this pastime of Vritrasura and Indra. So this Vritrasura, Asura means like he was a demon, and Indra is the king of the heavenly planet. Right. So there is actually conversation. So then actually you see the Vritrasura, though he is a demon externally, but his consciousness was very, very elevated. Because there is a history to him. He was a great devotee of the Lord in previous life. For some reason he became the Asura, the demon. But his consciousness was very, very clear. He knew that what he is supposed to ask from the Lord. So he says, his understanding is explained here. And it's very, very relevant for all of us. So he says, to accumulate material possessions, one must labor very hard. And when he gets them, he creates many enemies. Because this material world is always full of rivalry. If one becomes rich, his friends or relatives are envious. So he was very clear that I am not after all these material things. Though he was a demon externally. And on the contrary, you see the Indradev. He is supposed to be very, very elevated. But he is always about his kingdom, his position and all of that. So it's not about externally how you look and what position you are sitting, but what is your consciousness. So these beautiful prayers, they are very celebrated prayers in the Srimad Bhagavatam by Vritrasura. Now generally nobody recites the prayers or something which an Asura has spoken. Why we have to talk what the Asura has spoken? But these are the prayers by Vritrasura and they are celebrated prayers, very, very instructive. So he says, Aham hare tab pad ek moola dasanudaso babhitasmi bhuyaha manasmareta japader gunamste granita vakarma karotu kayaha. Now this demon is offering the prayer and what is asking to the Lord? Very instructive. He says, Aham hare tab pad ek moola dasanudaso babhitasmi bhuya. So he says, my Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, if at all you give me another birth, then my only prayer is that you should give me the association of your devotees who have taken shelter of your lotus feet. Hem Harer Das Pad Ekamula. The devotees who are always sitting at your shelter. So if you want to give me another birth, then give me the association of those great devotees. That is his aspiration. He's not asking anything. So point is, yatha mam prapadyante. What degree you surrender, Krishna will reciprocate. He is asking, give me the association of your devotees. Lord will grant the association with the devotees. Right? And then he says, Nanak prastham na chaparameshtyam na sarvabhaumam na rasadhipatyam na yoga siddhir apunarbhavam va samanjasatva virahaya kangshe. So he says, Nanak prastham. I don't want any heavenly planets. Na parameshtyam. If you want to make me the king of heaven, you want to give me the position of Brahma or any other higher planet, I'm not interested. Na sarvabhaumam. If you want to make me the king of the entire planet Earth, sarvabhaum, I don't want that also. Na rasadhipatyam. If you want to make me the master of all the lower planetary system, so I don't want the heavenly planets, I don't want the earthly planets, I don't want the lower planets. Nothing of these three words. And then na yoga siddhim. If you want to give me some yoga siddhi, some power, some mystical powers, I don't want that also. If samanjasatva virahaya kangshe, if it comes at the cost of virahaya kangshe, separation from you. If I forget you, I get separated from you, then what is the point of having all of those things? So that is the mood, that is the consciousness of great devotees. So we can understand that what we should ask from the Lord, and then Lord will reciprocate accordingly. And the same goes in connection with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teaching. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's the famous verse, Na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim kavitam va jagdish kamaye mam janmani janmanishware bhavatad bhaktir ahetuki toi. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also personally comes with the Supreme Lord Krishna himself, and then he says, he teaches us what he wants. He says, Na dhanam, I don't want the wealth. Na janam, na fan following. Na sundarim, I am not after some beautiful women, or for women it's man. And kavitam means the glorification, that people should glorify me. No, I don't want any of those things. But what I want is mama janmani janmanishware. Birth after birth, bhavatad bhaktir ahetuki twai. Give me twai bhakti, your bhakti. And what kind of bhakti? Ahetuki bhakti. Ahetuki bhakti means ahetuki. Hetu means there is a reason, karan. Right? So ahetuki means without, it's called the causeless devotional service. There's no reason that I want to serve you, so in turn you will give me this, give me that. No, there's no reason. I just want to serve you out of my devotion, out of my love. So that kind of bhakti Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is aspiring. So we learn from all these great examples and the great teachings that what we should be asking from the Lord. And then Lord will reciprocate accordingly. Right. So we'll close with this beautiful story, very interesting story of this one great devotee from the Sankara Sampradaya. His name is Pad Padma. So what happens, he was a hunter in the forest, and that is how he used to, making his livings by hunting and all that. So one time in the forest, when he was there out and for hunting, he found one sadhu, one yogi was sitting, right? And then he was meditating on the Lord Narasimha. So this sadhu was a devotee of Narasimha. So he was meditating on Lord Narasimha. So he comes. Now hunter doesn't have any idea what is meditation, what is sadhu, devotee. So what are you doing here? So this sadhu thought is some aborigine, some person like that. If I explain him all this, he's not even qualified to understand. So he says, no, actually I'm just thinking about, I'm thinking of someone. He says, what are you thinking about? Tell me, I can help you. I'm anyway in the forest, I know in and out here. Something you need, tell me. So he thought he's bothering my meditation. So let me just get rid of him. He said, no, actually I'm thinking of one personality. He says, what kind of personality? He says, what to say, Narsimha, I explain him and all that. He says, no, actually I'm looking for one, one tiger. Is it tiger? Why you are thinking of the tiger like that? He says, no, actually I want him, and he thought maybe he wants some tiger skin or something like that. So he's sitting and he says, anyway, I am hunter, you would have asked me, I would have gotten you that. So he says, yeah, please go and find the tiger and get me. For now you leave me. So that is how he figured out the way to get rid of this. But this hunter was very sincere person. Thought some sadhu kind of a person. He asked me something, right? So let me go and find. He is saying that the personality who looks like a lion or tiger, something like. So he was going searching in the entire, the whole of the forest. That the person who looks like a tiger. So where do I find such a person? So he was very sincerely going and searching out. And he says, what is his name? So this devotee, this sadhu told, his name is Narsimha. So he was going out in the forest, hey, someone Narsimha, here. So he was constantly calling out the name of Narsimha. And as time passes and it was becoming evening, late night, another day, so he was becoming restless. Where is this Narsimha is? Who is this Narsimha? I know everywhere, each and every place of the forest. Where would I go and find this Narsimha? He was going and shouting and becoming eager, very restless, that when would I find this Narsimha? So by seeing this eagerness of this Padma, the Narsimha appeared in front of him. In the Narsimha form. Looks like a half man and half lion. Right? And as soon as the Narsimha appeared in front of this Padma, what he did? He is a hunter, he is carrying the rope. So he put the rope in his neck, he tied him and he started dragging him. So when I found him, I just hand over it to this yogi. So he dragging the tiger and he went rushing there and he says, I found your tiger like a person. See, he is right here. And he tied with the noose in the neck and all that. But when this yogi was looking, he could see only rope. He couldn't see anything else. And this person was seeing Narsimha is there. Right? So what we understand from this story, Ye athamam prapadyante tamstam bhajamyaham. Though this person is sitting in meditation and this yogi, but he may not be very fixed up in his meditation. But on the other hand, this hunter was such an unqualified person, but he developed so much of eagerness to see the Lord. So this eagerness is the qualification to have the darshan of the Lord. So by some means, if we can develop this eagerness to see the darshan of the Lord, and then Lord will reciprocate. Right? And this is the principle. It says, Tatra lalyam api ekamolyam janma koti sukratirna labhyade Krishna bhakti rasa bhavita mati. So he says, what is the qualification to see the Lord? Tatra lalyam api ekamolyam. There is a price, mulyam. What is that mulya? What is that price? Lalyam. That greed in the heart, that intensity, that intense greed to see the Lord, to meet the Lord, to serve the Lord. If we have this intensity in the heart, then that is the price. There's no other way to have the Lord. So we have to somehow or other figure out that how we can intensify our longing. Now there are two kind of things in this world. People have infinite longing. There's no end to their longings. Longing means their desires, one after another. Every day it keeps increasing. So either you can have infinite longing, or you can have the longing for infinite. So choice is ours. So instead of all those infinite longings, we should long for the infinite Lord, unlimited Lord. Right? So when that greed is there, then we can have the darshan of the Lord. Okay, so time is getting over. So in that connection, I'll just read some one or two more verses, which is again very relevant since tomorrow we are celebrating one of the most auspicious occasion, which is Gaur Purnima. Those who are new, for them, Gaur Purnima is the day, is the appearance day of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself, but in the mood of his devotee. So 500 years back, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in this particular mood. He is the Supreme Lord acting like a devotee to teach the world how you can be a devotee. Right? So tomorrow is the appearance day of the Lord, and in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the reason is given that why Krishna appeared at Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I'll just read out some few verses and then we'll close our discussion. So it's important to understand that why Krishna comes in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. What is the reason? What is the need? So he says, Prema rasa niryasa karite aswadan Rag marga bhakti loke karite pracharan Rashika sekhar Krishna param karuna Ei dui hetu haite ichad odagam. So there are two reasons have been explained why Krishna comes in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he says the Lord's desire to appear was born from two reasons. What are the two reasons? The Lord wanted to taste the sweet essence of the mallows of love of God, and he wanted to propagate devotional service in the world on the platform of spontaneous attraction. Thus, he is known as supremely jubilant and as the most merciful of all. So Krishna says, Aishwarya janete sabha jagat mishrita Aishwarya sitila prema nahi mora prita. So Krishna is thinking to himself that all the universe is filled with the conception of my majesty. Everybody is worshipping the Lord in Aishwarya, the majesty. But love, weakened by that sense of majesty, does not satisfy me. So when you worship the Lord with great awe and reverence, the Lord is supreme. Yes, that is one of the way of worshipping the Lord. But Krishna is saying that this kind of worship doesn't satisfy me. Right? Then, if one regards me as the Supreme Lord and himself as a subordinate, I do not become subservient to his love, nor can it control me. So this is like the worship in the Dasya Bhav. Lord, you are my master, I am your servant. So somebody worship the Lord, it's good, but it doesn't really attract the heart of the Lord. In whatever transcendental mallow my devotee worship me, I reciprocate with him. That is my natural behavior. And then it is quoted, Ye yatha maam prapadyante tam stam bhajameham. In what mood you want to worship the Lord, Lord will reciprocate. Right? So somebody wants to worship the Lord in awe and reverence, the Lord will accept that worship. But then Krishna is saying this kind of worship doesn't satisfy my heart. There is something more intimate. So there is a Dasya Bhav, but there is something is lacking in the Dasya Bhav. The next level is called the Sakhya Bhav. Sakhya Bhav means you consider the Lord as your friend. So in the Dasya Bhav, Lord is the master, I am the servant. But there is an element of fear. Okay, that is how the relation between the master and the servant. So then there is a fear. So the next level is Sakha Bhav, wherein you come at the equal platform of the Lord. You don't consider the Lord as the Lord, but you say he is my friend. And the next level is called the Vasalya Bhav. Vasalya means you are not at the equal platform, but you take the superior position. Yashoda Mai. She is thinking, I am maintaining Krishna. Whole world is thinking Krishna is maintaining us. Yashoda Mai is thinking, I have to maintain Krishna. If I don't feed him on time, something will go wrong with Krishna. So this is more intimate further. So how the bhava, it enhances and increases. Right? So in the Vasalya Bhava, the devotee takes the superior position, and the highest is considered as the Madhurya Bhava, wherein this is the conjugal loving relationship with the Lord. Now these are all very technical subjects. It's beyond the scope of today's discussion. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared to reciprocate with his devotees, to give them the opportunity to serve in that, to teach the devotees that Lord can be served in those intimate platforms. Right? So tomorrow we are celebrating the divine appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is the inaugurator of this Sankirtan movement. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the one who taught the whole world that what is the process in this modern age for deliverance. So this is, and the Vishnu Purana says, Krate Adhyayado Vishnum Tretayam Yajado Magai Dwapare Paricharyayam Kalau Tad Hari Kirtana. So in Kali Yuga, the only process to establish your connection with the Supreme Lord is chanting Krishna's name. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came personally in the form of the devotee, and then he taught that how to chant Krishna's name, right? So let us now chant one round of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and everyone should practice the chanting of Hare Krishna mantra at your home. Also, you can practice, and there's no hard and fast rules and regulations for chanting this mantra. It takes hardly 8-9 minutes to chant one round, so you can start with one round and chant more also. And tomorrow is a very, very special day, so please come. We have the festival in the evening. Starting at 6:30, we'll be having the grand abhishekam for the Lord. Bhajan Kirtans will be serving the dinner prasadam. So join with your family, with your friends, and enjoy the festival and receive the blessings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Okay. And anyone who is visiting first time today? Any new visitor? Okay, it is basically to give you a special gift, nothing else. So you can confidently raise your hand if somebody is new. Okay, so for the new visitors, we have the counter there. If anyone who is visiting first time, please collect your gift from the counter back there. Okay, now just quickly chant one round of Hare Krishna mantra. I also need one mala. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. We'll chant together now. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.